Hope leaving Forrester Creations should feel like freedom. But on the bold and the beautiful, freedom often comes with a price. And if Steffy decides to turn Hope's own legacy against her, this exit may not be the end of the war. It may be the beginning of something much colder. Hope Logan walking away from Forrester Creations would not be a simple career move. It would be a statement. For years, Hope has been tied to Forrester through her fashion line, her family history, and her complicated relationship with Steffy. But if she finally decides that she has had enough, then Hope is not just leaving a company. She is leaving behind a battlefield. And that is where things get dangerous. Because Hope may believe that once she walks out, she can start fresh. She may imagine a new chapter at Logan, working with Katie, possibly with Liam's support, and building something that belongs to her without Steffy standing over her shoulder. But Steffy may not let Hope leave that easily. This is not only about losing an employee. It is about control. It is about pride. It is about making sure Hope does not walk away and turn herself into the victim who rises again somewhere else. Steffy may see Hope's exit as betrayal. Even worse, she may see it as an insult. After all the tension, all the accusations, and all the fights over loyalty, Hope leaving for Katie's fashion house could feel like a direct challenge to Forrester power. And when Steffy feels challenged, she does not usually step back. She counters. The biggest problem for Hope may be the name that made her famous. There has already been plenty of talk about Hope's contract with Forrester Creations, and that could become the center of this entire conflict. Hope may be leaving, but she may not be able to take Hope for the future with her. That is a brutal reality. Hope built her identity around that line. The message, the image, the emotional connection with customers, all of it became part of who she is. But if the legal rights belong to Forrester, then Hope may be forced to start over without the very brand that carries her name. That is why Liam's idea could matter. If Hope cannot use Hope for the future, maybe she launches a simpler line called Hope at Logan. On the surface, that sounds clean, personal, and powerful. It gives her a fresh identity while still keeping her name at the center. But in soap opera business wars, nothing is ever that simple. Steffy could argue that a new line called Hope would create confusion with Hope for the future. She could claim customers may believe the two brands are connected. She could say Hope is trying to copy the spirit of a Forrester-owned concept. And suddenly, Hope's fresh start could turn into a legal nightmare. That would be classic Steffy strategy. Not loud revenge, not emotional shouting. A clean, calculated move that makes Hope's new beginning harder before it even launches. But the cruelest twist may be this. Steffy could decide to relaunch Hope for the future after Hope leaves. And not quietly. She could push for a fast relaunch date. She could create a new collection, build major buzz, and make sure the fashion world is watching Forrester instead of Logan. If Katie is trying to help Hope create momentum, Steffy could cut that momentum off by turning Hope's former line into Forrester's next big headline. That would hurt, not because Hope can stop it easily, but because the message would be impossible to miss. Steffy would be saying that Hope is replaceable. The line can continue without her. The brand can survive without her. The audience can move on without her. And Forrester Creations can take the name Hope helped build and use it to compete directly against Hope's new future. That is not just business. That is personal. And it may expose a side of Steffy that viewers either love or hate. The ruthless executive who knows exactly where to strike. For Steffy, this could be framed as smart leadership. She may tell Ridge and the others that Forrester cannot waste a valuable brand just because Hope decided to walk away. She may argue that the company has every right to protect its assets. But Hope would hear something very different. She would hear revenge. Now imagine this next move. Steffy does not just relaunch Hope for the future. She puts Electra Forrester at the center of it. That would be a powerful visual shift. Electra is young, fresh, connected to the Forrester name, and could represent a new generation. Steffy could present her as the future of the brand. A new face, a new voice, a new beginning. And the irony would be sharp. A line once defined by Hope Logan could suddenly be reborn through a Forrester. That would send a message to the entire fashion world. Hope may have created the emotional identity of the line, but Forrester owns the stage. Forrester decides who represents the future. Forrester chooses who gets the spotlight. Electra may not even realize how much drama she is stepping into. She could believe she is getting a major opportunity. And maybe she is, but behind the scenes, she may also become part of Steffy's larger move against Hope, Katie, and the Logans. That makes the relaunch even more complicated. Because if Electra becomes the new symbol of hope for the future, Hope may feel like her legacy has been stolen in front of everyone. Not hidden, not quietly erased, publicly replaced, and that kind of humiliation could push Hope into a very different emotional place. This fight may not be only about Hope. Steffy may also be looking at Katie Logan Spencer, Bill Spencer, Liam Spencer, and the entire Logan side as part of the same threat. Katie's fashion house could become a real problem for Forrester if it gains attention. With Bill's money, Liam's support, and Hope's name recognition, Logan could become more than a side project. It could become a competitor. And Steffy may not want to wait until that happens. A relaunch of Hope for the future could be her way of striking first. It would pull press attention back to Forrester. It would make buyers curious. It would remind the industry that Forrester Creations still controls the bigger platform. At the same time, it could make Katie nervous. Katie wants her company to succeed. She wants to prove she can stand on her own. But if Forrester suddenly launches a major campaign using the very brand connected to Hope, Katie's big moment could be overshadowed before it fully begins. That is why this possible move feels so dangerous. Steffy could hurt Hope emotionally while hurting Katie professionally. One strategy, two targets. And if Bill sees Katie being pushed into failure, he may not stay quiet. Liam may not either. That means Steffy's revenge could pull the Spencer family deeper into the war. The person who may be forced into the hardest position is Ridge. If Steffy wants to relaunch Hope for the future, Ridge may understand the business logic. The line belongs to Forrester. It has history. It has value. From a corporate point of view, letting it sit untouched may seem foolish. But from a family point of view, it could look cruel. Brooke will almost certainly see it that way. To Brooke, this would feel like Steffy taking Hope's name, Hope's work, and Hope's emotional legacy, then using it against her daughter. Brooke may argue that just because Forrester can do something legally does not mean they should do it morally. And that is where Ridge could be trapped. If he supports Steffy, he risks hurting Brooke and proving Hope's worst fears about Forrester. If he blocks Steffy, he risks making his daughter feel undermined inside her own company. There is no clean escape. And that is what makes this storyline powerful. It is not just about fashion. It is about loyalty being tested through business decisions. Ridge may try to calm everyone down. He may want compromise. But if Steffy is already in revenge mode, compromise may be the last thing on her mind. Still, Hope may not be as helpless as Steffy thinks. If Steffy relaunches Hope for the future without her, it could backfire emotionally. Viewers, buyers, and people inside the industry may start asking one uncomfortable question. Can Hope for the future really exist without Hope? That question could become Hope's weapon. At Logan, Hope could build a new brand around authenticity. She could argue that Forrester may own the old name, but they do not own her voice. They do not own her vision. They do not own what she represents. That kind of story could connect with people. A woman pushed out of her own legacy, forced to rebuild from scratch, and determined to prove that the real power was never in the label. It was in her. That is why Steffi's revenge may be risky. If she goes too far, she could make Hope look stronger. She could turn Hope into the underdog. And in the fashion world, a good comeback story can be just as powerful as a famous brand name. Hope may lose hope for the future. But she may gain something even more dangerous. A reason to fight harder. So now the question is not just whether Hope leaves Forrester Creations. The real question is what Steffi does after Hope walks out. Will Steffi let Hope start fresh at Logan? Or will she relaunch Hope for the future without her, use the brand to steal the spotlight, and turn Hope's own legacy into a weapon? If that happens, this will not be a clean business rivalry. It will be personal, painful, and explosive. Hope may be gone from Forrester, but her name may still be trapped there. And if Steffi uses that name to make a statement, the Logan and Forrester war could enter its most ruthless chapter yet. What do you think? Is Steffi making a smart business move, or is this dirty revenge against Hope? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this battle is far from over. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more bold and the beautiful spoilers, updates, and dramatic breakdowns.